Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at a really interesting puzzle, maybe one of the biggest in resource management right now.
It certainly is.
You hear all these warnings, right?
Yeah.
About fish stocks collapsing, biodiversity loss.
Mm.
It's pretty grim globally.
Constant alarms.
But then you look at Southeast Asia. Huge populations, growing demand for food, yet somehow they seem to be keeping their fisheries relatively healthy. They're swimming against the tide, you could say.
Exactly. And that's why the work by Professor Matsuishi Takashi Fritz at Hokkaido University is so important. He's really trying to unpack how they're managing this.
What's a secret sauce, basically?
Yeah, and what lessons, the rest of us can learn, especially anywhere that relies heavily on the oceans for food.
Okay, so let's get into it. The first thing that jumps out is this production paradox, as we're calling it.
Right. So production-wise, the total amount of fish caught in Southeast Asia, it's seen the biggest increase globally over the last, say, 30 years.
Massive growth, though maybe leveling off a bit recently.
A slight plateau since about 2018, yeah. But still, huge overall growth. But then here's the paradox.
The catch.
The productivity, meaning how much fish is caught per boat or per person fishing, it's actually the second lowest in the world.
That sounds, well, inefficient, doesn't it? How can that work?
Well, that inefficiency, if you want to call it that, might actually be the key.
Really? How so?
It comes down to the sheer number of people involved. The percentage of the population fishing in Southeast Asia is, get this, 3.4 times the global average.
Wow, 3.4 times.
Yeah, it just shows how incredibly dependent the region is on fish and aquatic foods for protein, like daily protein.
So it's not about big industrial fleets exporting everything.
Not primarily, no. It's dominated by small-scale, artisanal fishers, people catching just enough for their family, maybe the local village market.
So the low productivity isn't a weakness, it's spread out.
Exactly. Professor Fritz really highlights this. Because each person catches relatively little, the system can support a huge number of jobs without necessarily hammering the fish stocks in any one place.
Right, distributing the pressure.
Yeah.
And creating livelihoods.
Two massive wins: food security and jobs.
Yep.
Plus, there's an ecological benefit, too.
From the small scale.
Yeah. Think about the gear they use. Small nets, poles, maybe small boats. Not giant bottom trawlers that scrape the seabed clean.
So much less damaging to the actual ecosystem.
Much less. It's thousands of tiny impacts instead of one massive, destructive one.
Professor Fritz also mentioned something about quality, didn't he?
He did. Because the catch is small and local, it gets to market incredibly fresh, high quality.
Unlike stuff shipped frozen for weeks.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that freshness means it can command a pretty good price locally. It supports a local high-value economy, but with low environmental impact.
Okay, so we have lots of small-scale fishers, low individual catches, less ecosystem damage. How does this connect to the actual fish populations? Are they healthy?
This is maybe the most striking finding. So the percentage of overfished stocks in Southeast Asia, it's actually pretty similar to the global average. Not great, but not wildly different.
Okay.
But here's the kicker. The proportion of underfished stocks is 3 times higher than the global average.
3 times more underfished stocks. That's huge.
It is. It suggests they aren't just relentlessly targeting the few most valuable species until they're gone.
So how do they manage that? Is it policy or?
It seems to be more about the way they fish. The biodiversity mechanism, as Fritz calls it, capture fisheries there tend to be multi-species.
Meaning they catch a mix of whatever is around.
Exactly. They aren't super selective, technologically trying to grab only, say, tuna or cod. They bring in a variety.
And that stops any one species getting completely wiped out.
Right. It spreads the fishing pressure across the ecosystem, which seems to be key for maintaining overall biodiversity and health.
So the big lesson here, thinking globally, it's not just about quotas on big ships.
It seems not. Professor Fritz's conclusion points towards a different approach entirely. It's about fundamentally shifting the scale and the selectivity.
Smaller scale, less selective.
Yes. Encourage those multi-species fisheries. Protect and actively promote the small-scale, artisanal fishers who use low-impact gear.
Yeah.
Their focus is different. It's community, it's local food, not just maximizing single-species extraction for global markets.
It really flips the script on what efficiency means, doesn't it?
Hey,
Maybe maximum extraction isn't the most efficient model in the long run?
That's the core insight, I think. This suggests that maybe a decentralized system, one that prioritizes jobs and ecological health alongside protein supply, might actually be more resilient, more sustainable.
So the thought to leave you with is, Could our relentless drive for industrial scale and efficiency be undermining both the environment and society?
It's a critical question. Southeast Asia seems to show that high biodiversity and widespread job creation don't have to be trade offs. They might actually be linked if we manage resources differently.